Recording in progress. Hello everyone, welcome to Adhyapana Academy. I am Ranjani. So let me introduce myself before we get into our demo class. And first of all, wish you all a very happy and a prosperous new year. Hope you had a fantastic start to this year. And we strongly believe that we'll add up to that fun. And so a brief introduction about myself. I'm a chartered accountant and I started my profession with a famous multinational company. It's a manufacturing company, and then I moved to a Big Four. And for the past 7 years, I was there with the Big Four. And then recently, I had forayed into this education sector to follow my passion. And I've been taking classes in especially in accountancy for higher studies, higher education students, and also as a matter of interest, myself along with my husband, we run a podcast channel. It's called Kuti Story, and we do give some inspirational stories to the younger generation. And apart from that, I've been invited to schools to give inspirational and motivational speech to the children, especially in their 11th and 12th grade. So this is pretty much about my education and the other career side. And apart from that, I'm a trained classical Bharatanatyam dancer. So I do give some professional shows, and I'm still learning under the tutelage of Mrs. Mahalakshmi, my guru. And this is pretty much about myself. So let's get into today's class. And before that, so I will be along with your CMA journey. I'll be supporting you in your corporate accounting and auditing paper. Hope you find it useful and enjoyable. So let's get into today's class. Yes. So in today's class, we'll be dealing with just a minute. Yeah. So today we are going to see issue of shares. So in the next 10 to 15 minutes, we'll be looking at quickly a glance about background about shares and then issue of shares especially. And then we will also work out one sample problem, a plain vanilla case problem we'll be working out. So with respect to issue of shares, first of all, what is a share? A share is a particular split. I mean, a company's ownership or the capital, the whole capital, is split into various units. So those multiple units, it is called shares. So since the ownership or the capital is being shared among multiple people, the term has been tagged. So it's share of ownership. So the person who has invested money in that particular company is called a shareholder. So and then moving to types of shares. So as we have already seen, we must have some more heard words. Two types of shares. One is equity shares and preference shares. Equity and preference. So what is, sorry, just a minute. So preference shares is the I mean, the shareholders will have certain preferential rights. I'm just using short forms here, preferential rights. So what are those preferential rights with respect to dividend? and also at the time of liquidation they will be having a lot of preferences, and that's why the term it's tagged as preference shares. And equity shares, there is no such preferential rights available to those shareholders. So these are the types of the shares. And then moving on, we have seen what is share capital. So share capital is the amount which is raised by the company through issue of these shares. So that is share capital. So that there it is, a term is being coined, which is issue of shares, which we will see in the upcoming paragraphs. So now, before that, before we get into issue of shares, so what are all the types of shares that we are going to deal with? So types of shares. There are totally 5 types. So one by one we'll see. Which first one is authorized. So authorized capital is the capital which is permitted by the permitted to the company. That's the authorized number. And then comes the issued. Issued capital is from the authorized what the company is planning to issue, either to the public or to the private placement. And then comes called up. Called up is for which the money has been called up out of the issue of shares. And then comes paid up. Only when we call, that is not enough, no? So we need to get money. So when we get money, that is called paid up shares. So wherever the members have actually paid for the called number, that is paid up capital. And then comes reserved. Reserved, generally we will not have in our practical problems, we may not have seen much, but reserved capital is the one which is uncalled portion. The uncalled portion is kept aside, which will be used at the time of liquidation of the company. So these are the types of shares. Now comes the issue of shares. Okay, this is the important portion. So how shares are being issued? So generally shares are being issued in multiple modes. One of the modes is public issue. Public issue, as the name itself implies, it is open for the public. So listed companies will do that. So under IPO, so this is open for public. And then comes private placement. Private placement is it is given to one particular sect of people. So it's more like, you know, a closed group, closed member group. It is open only for them. So we'll say closed group. So only to closed member group it is open. So that's called private placement. And then comes rights issue. Rights issue and bonus issue. These two are applicable or available only for the existing investors, existing shareholders. Rights is something which is issued by the company to the shareholders lesser than the market price. So less than the market price is rights issue. And then bonus. Bonus is something available without any consideration. So it's just a bonus. Bonus meaning no money involved. So no consideration. So that's with respect to the types of shares which is being issued. And then a last one is offer for sale, which is called OFC. Offer for sale. This is ideally the promoters who are the owners, the ultimate owners of the company. They will let go or they will give away certain shares and they will offer it for sale to public. So that is called offer for sale. So it is done by the promoters. So promoters' share is being given away. So these are the types of issue of shares. Now, how the shares are being issued? The shares are being issued under 3 modes. So as we all know, it is either at the face value, which is at par. If the face value of the share is say 10 rupees, the shares are issued at 10 rupees, it is at par. And then at premium is something more above than the face value, and at discount, which is below the face value. So these are the three modes through which the shares are issued. And when a company is issuing shares, either it will be a lump sum mode, lump sum meaning the entire amount you will get it in one go, lump sum. And then the next mode is installments. So under lump sum, there is absolutely no confusion. So when you are issuing say 10,000 shares at the face value of 10 rupees, you get the money entirely in one go from your members, and then you transfer it to the share capital. Whereas under installment, you will get in piecemeal, meaning at the time of application, you will get one portion, and at the time of allotment, you will get one portion, and at the time of calls, like you can issue say first call, second call, third call, final call, like that company will issue call. Ideally they call for the amount from the members. So the under installment method, it is broken down into stages of receipt of money. So we will be looking at the accounting entries both under the lump sum method as well as installments. Under lump sum method, the journal entries are pretty much simple. What are those entries? So we'll quickly glance through the entries, accounting entries. For lump sum, what we generally do, we issue shares and then we get the money. When we get the money, money comes in. So first situation is receipt of application money. So when we get the application money, money comes in. So bank account is debited, bank account debit to share application account. This is the first scenario. Then the second stage is you will be, if you have say issued the shares for say 10,000 shares, but you got the money for 12,000 or 15,000, that excess amount should be refunded to the members. So that is money is going out of the company. So what happens? Bank account will get credited, and then you are giving the application money. So share application will be debited. Share application account debit to bank account will be the entry for refund. So this is for refund. And you have to write the appropriate narration. The excess application money is refunded. That would be the narration. So then the next entry would be transferring this to the allotment. My meaning, this entire amount is being transferred to the share capital. So what happens? It will be share application to share capital, because share capital is a liability and it will always have a credit balance. So share application account debit to share capital. Simple, isn't it? Yes, because it's lump sum, no issues at all. So only 3 entries. It is easy to remember and easy to proceed also. But unfortunately, we may not get such simple sums. Okay. Then next one is installment. Here comes the actual importance. So the same thing, when at the time of receipt of application, the same entry will be repeated, bank account debit to share application. And then when there is excess money being refunded, the same amount, the same entry will be repeated. And then, and then when we have allotment, So when there is installment, so what happens is portion by portion we will receive the amount, and as and when we receive the amount, we will transfer it to the capital. So when we are transferring the share application money to the capital, so this will be the entry. So share application account debit to share capital account. And then after that, there will be allotment. So say for example, when the face value is say 10 rupees, say 2 or 3 rupees you would have received under application. So 2 rupees we received under application. That money we receive and then we transfer it to the share capital. And then uh, 5 rupees or say 6 rupees, we'll keep it as 5 rupees. 5 rupees to be received under allotment. So that 5 rupees, before we receive that 5 rupees, we will create an asset, which is a receivable account. It's more like a control account. So we might have thought why we are creating an allotment account and then we transfer, because this is also prudence concept. So what happens is we are expecting money from the members. So we create one receivable account, share allotment account, debit to share capital account. This is for the money due to be received by the members under allotment. Only once you receive the amount for the allotment, what happens? The next entry is bank account. So money actually is coming in. Bank account debit to share allotment. Then next comes the next comes the call money. So when we receive, similarly like for allotment, how we have opened a receivable account, similarly the company should open a receivable account for the calls. It could be first and final call, one shot, or multiple calls. So for our understanding purposes, I'm saying it as call. So call, so share call account debit to share capital. Then when I receive the call money, what happens? Bank account debit to share call. So what is a control account? Here quickly I'll tell you. So when here we are creating the receivable as share allotment, and then we are crediting the share capital account. So then once we receive money, what happens? Share allotment account is credited. So this account and this account will get knocked off. At the end of the day, when we receive the entire allotment money, the share allotment account will become zero. And what holds? Bank account, only the share capital and bank account holds. So bank account, the money will be transferred to the share capital account. Similarly to the share call also, it works the same way. This is the way a control account is being operated. So now quickly we'll jump into a problem, which is a vanilla case. So I'm reading the problem for your better reach. So ABC Limited made an issue of 5,000 shares of rupees 10 each, payable at rupees 2 on application, 5 on allotment, and then 3 on first on final call. So this is under installment. Application money in respect of 2,000 shares, 7,000 shares were received. So what we should do? We should refund the shares amounting to 2,000 value amounting to 2,000 shares. And then the balance is allotted. And all the amounts were duly received, past the necessary journal entries. So first, what will be the entry? We have received 2 rupees under application, right? So the first entry will be bank account. So what I can do, I think I will go and fill the amounts here to save time. So bank account and share application will be the first entry. So the amount is 5,000 at 10 each is the total, but 5,000 at 2. 7,000 is what we have received, right? So 7,000 into 2 rupees, which is 14,000 is the total amount which we have received. And then what is the amount that we have to refund? 2000 shares. So 2000 into 2000 into 2, which is 4,000. So now we have got 14,000 minus 4,000, 10,000 we have got for application side. Okay. Next is rupees 5 on allotment. So 5. The total number of shares is 5,000. So 5 will be for allotment. So before that, we will have to transfer the amount to share application. So what would be the amount? The net amount, 10,000. So hope it is clear till here. Then now we will move on to share allotment. So now we have to create a receivable account for share allotment, which we have done here. And allotment money is 5 rupees, 5 into 5,000. So for the interest, in the interest of time, I'm not writing the narration, but the narration would be what I'm explaining. So here the narration would be 5,000 shares has been allotted and allotment money received at rupees 5, creating a due. So allotment money due at 5 rupees into 5,000. That would be the explanation. So the allotment money which is due to be received is 25,000. Then when you receive the money, actually bank account will be debited with 25,000 and share allotment 25,000. This will be the entry. So share allotment money received for 5,000 shares. So then the next thing is call. So what is the balance? 3 rupees is on the call, first and final call. So we have to create a receivable for first and final call, which is share call account debit 3 rupees. So 3 rupees into 5,000 shares. So 15,000 and share capital 15,000. So the narration will be share call money due on 5,000 shares has been created. Next, you are actually receiving the share call money. So at that time, what would be the entry? Bank account debit to share call, which is 15,000. To share call 15,000. So this is the entry. I would quickly repeat the key points. So when the shares are issued in installments, so what we have to do, we have to understand the problem in such a way that at what all stages we receive the money. So it will be portion will be from under application time, and then allotment, and then during first and multiple calls, or just first and final call. So application money, whatever is received through application, we have to pass the entry for receipt of the application money, and whatever is in excess of the shares which are actually issued by the company, that particular amount will have to be refunded to the members. There ends the application. And then once it is done, we have to transfer the application. This one, we have to transfer the application, whatever money we have received, to the share capital. There ends the application. Then comes the allotment. For allotment and for the calls, share calls, we have to create a receivable for be it allotment or for the multiple stages of installment. So for creating the receivable control account, the account entry will be share allotment account debit to share capital. For the entire amount, we have to raise the due, and then once it is received, we will say bank account debit to share allotment. And then similarly for share call also, we have to create a receivable and then transfer it to the share call. Receive the amount in the bank account. So bank account debit to share call. This will be the entry for calls. So it goes on and on for the multiple calls. So this, with the interest of time, we covered the illustration covering the basics of issue of shares, and hope you have found it useful. And then I am very excited and glad to, I'm looking forward to our sessions where we will have a very interesting and interactive sessions going forward. So all the best. this for handling for undertaking this paper and also for all the other subjects. All the best and good luck. See you. Bye.